Good morning, Austin New Church. You look beautiful this morning. Thanks. Yeah, welcome. Those of you at home, we love you, we miss you, we hope you're well. Those of you here, welcome to another week of Advent as we celebrate peace. We want to invite you guys to stand with us if you're able. We've seen mothers bury sons, and we're begging you to come. Oh, oh, oh. The broken fill our towns, the hopeless shout aloud. Oh, oh, oh. We cannot wait. We cannot wait. Oh, we cannot wait. Oh, the poor are thrown aside, the sick are left to die. Oh, oh, oh. We need your grace, oh God. Your grace, oh God. We need your grace. Cannot wait, oh God. Your grace, oh God. We need your grace. Oh. Pour out your hope, oh God, and your love, oh God, upon this place. Yes. Bring your peace, oh God, and your joy, oh God, and fill this place. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh.
And we've seen mothers bury sons, and we're begging you to come. Oh, oh, oh. The broken fill our towns, and the helpless shout aloud. Oh, oh, oh. We cannot wait. We cannot wait. Oh, we cannot wait. While the poor are thrown aside, and the sick are left to die. Oh, oh, oh.
We need your God, your love, God, upon this place. Bring your peace, oh God, your joy, God, fill this place. Pour out your hope, oh God, your love, oh God, upon this place. Bring your peace, oh God, and your joy, oh God, fill this place.
Oh, come, Emmanuel. 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 Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as our Father, children are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
How can I respond to the love that you have lavished on me? How can I respond to the love that you have lavished on me? How can I to the love that you have lavished on me? How can I respond to the love that you have lavished on me? I don't have much, part of me. Wants to love you like you love me. No, every part of me wants to love you like you love me. No, I don't have much. I have a heart that beats for you. I have a heart that beats for you. I don't have much. I don't have much. I have a heart that beats for you. 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 I have a life I give to you. I have a life I give to you. I have a life I give to you. I have a life I give. I have a life I give to you. I have a life I give to you. I have a life I give to you. I have a life I give, life I give. I have a life I give to you. I have a life I give to you. I have a life I give to you. I have a life I give. I don't have much. I don't have much. But I have a heart that beats for you. I have a heart that beats for you. I don't have much. No, I don't have much. But I have a heart that beats for you. I have a heart. Lift your voices. I don't have much. I don't have much. I have a heart that beats for you.
I'm going to try to hold three things at once, and it's not going to go well, but this is a safe space, so we're good. Good morning. How are y'all? You're doing good? Good, good. Well, welcome. Welcome to ANC. My name's Britta, and I'm on the board here. Longtime listener, first-time announcement giver. If we don't know you very well yet, we'd love for you to scan the QR code. There's also a link if you don't like QR codes. But that's the best way to get on the mailing list, get just info. I promise it's not invasive. It's like one email a week that you can unsubscribe to if you don't want to. We'd love to get to know you. Woo. See, we're just dropping things. Oh, it's my things. We're dropping my things. Wonderful. Welcome. So yeah, please scan the info card. Next slide. Thanks so much. Welcome. We're celebrating ANC as a beacon of hope. And something that's really important, something we're working on this year, is our giving campaign. And I give to ANC, and it's really, really important to me to give to ANC because even though I don't have kids of my own, it's so important to me that all the kiddos who come through here have a very different experience than I had. And it's not just keeping the lights on and making sure we have air conditioning in the middle of Texas and staff salaries and things like that. There's so much good that ANC is doing, and us as a family, as a team, get to make that happen. So you can scan the QR code for more information about our giving campaign. We also have bracelets in the back. So if you've been part of end of year giving, we're trying to close the gap. We've gotten a little behind in recent years, and we're working on closing that gap for our budget for next year. And so if you've given to the end of year campaign, there's beautiful hope bracelets someone made for us on the back table in the lobby. And you're welcome to pick up one of those and let us know if you have any questions. Next, Ms. Emerson Parker is going to come up and talk to us for a little bit.
Hi, good morning, ANC. My name is Emerson, and I'm ninth grade. I was asked to talk about why courage in the face of injustice is important. This year in my science class, I saw that there were a lot of kids who are English language learners. That means they are learning English. Some of them struggle to know what the teacher is saying and what their schoolwork says. This bothered me a lot because I could only imagine how hard and discouraging it would be to come to school every day but not understand what the teacher is saying. I brainstormed, thought about it a lot, and did some research and found these earbuds online that translate languages in real time. I thought that would be helpful to use and have the teacher's lessons and instructions be translated into their language during class. I emailed my principal from middle school because she now works at the district office. I emailed her about my idea and to think what could happen. She emailed me back and asked to meet. We talked about all the stuff that it could be good for, and there's no downside. You just have to figure out what works and what doesn't, and so we realized that there's a lot more that's good. I would say my courage in the face of injustice is I saw that there are a lot of people in my grade and in my class who are learning a new language and have a hard time understanding what's happening, and I felt like that is not right because if I was in Spain going to school where I don't know the language, I'd be really mad because I don't know what we're learning, and so I thought, hey, this doesn't feel right. Last week, I met with more people at our school district, and it's actually happening. We have 2 sets of these earbuds, and we're going to start doing it next semester. My old principal said, since I'm a freshman, we have 4 full years to work on it. And yeah, I actually did something. I think we could all be courageous and speak up when we see something that isn't okay. It might not change, but you never know, it could.
Yeah! Thank you, Emerson. That is amazing and such an amazing example of courage. Thank you so much for being Jesus in your school and loving everybody. I love that. So next up, Christmas Eve service. So this is from back in the day when we were tiny and no one would let us borrow a church on Christmas Eve because they were all busy. So it started a fun tradition where we do Christmas Eve, and it's super special. I promise if you're in town, you're not going to want to miss it. It is tomorrow night at 5 p.m., and we would love some people to stay after 5:30. And we need some people to hang out afterwards and help us. We're actually going to move. The sanctuary is going to look really different for that service, and I'm really excited about it. We just need some people to help us carry some stuff. So if you're free to stick around right after the service for a couple minutes, that would be really great. Speaking of Christmas, my family, so I understand how much Christmas can get really lonely sometimes, and we don't want anyone to be lonely on Christmas. So my house will be open all day on Christmas Day if you want somewhere to come hang out. Be fun people and good food. So if you want to come spend the whole day, or you just need a safe, loving hug on the way home from wherever it was you spent the day, we would love to spend the day with you. You can bring snacks, or you can just show up in your PJs and chill. It's going to be very low-key. So come find me after the service if you want more information, or all the staff know me if you can't remember. There was that blonde girl on stage who dropped stuff. I want to go to her house. Help me. We have 2 wonderful, wonderful retreats coming up in January. I really hope to go to both of them. The first one is the Embodied Faith Retreat. It's just one night, and it's only $40, which is really accessible. And that will be a really, really beautiful restorative retreat. And then we also have another one in January. That's a little bit longer. It's 2 days. That's the 17th through the 19th, and it's still possible to sign up for either one of those. It's QR codes and also more information in the email, right, Catherine? So another good reason to get on that info card. We are going to keep our normal service schedule. We're not canceling anything. So we'll be here next Sunday and the Sunday after and after and after and after that. So you're welcome to come back with us. We're not like taking a break for New Year's or anything like that. And then one last announcement. The high schoolers are in with the junior hires today. So if that pertains to your age group, that's where you're going. Feel free to ask, and it was up front if you have any questions about that, where to go. And last but not least, the Lopez family will be lighting our candles today. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. So my name is Cindy, and I'm going to be reading Luke chapter 2, verses 25 through 35. Now there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. This man was righteous and devout, looking forward to the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit rested on him. It had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not see death before he had seen the Lord's Messiah. Guided by the Spirit, Simeon came into the temple, and when the parents brought in the child Jesus to do for him what was customary under the law, Simeon took him in his arms and praised God, saying, "Master, now you are dismissing your servant in peace, according to your word. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the presence of all peoples, a light for revelation to the Gentiles and for glory to your people Israel." And the child's father and mother were amazed at what was being said about him. And then Simeon blessed them and said to his mother Mary, "This child is destined for the falling and the rising of many in Israel, and to be a sign that will be opposed, so that the inner thoughts of many will be revealed, and a sword will pierce your own soul too." Today we light the candle of love. Love is the care and connection that brings us together with each other and God. As we light this candle, we are reminded that from the manger, love is growing to be God with us. His name is Jesus, bread of life.
That's harder than it looks. Don't act like you know how to light lighters either. Every single one of you stand in the kitchen and try to get that thing to light and wonder who in the world designed that. Whoever designed it, they're laughing at us from the grave. Good morning, all. I wish the lights were up. I could see all your faces. It's thin today. I'm guessing people have opted for the Eve service tomorrow. Right, Brian? Is that what's going on? For years, we were the kind of church that just took the whole end of the year off. We're not that kind of church anymore, so we're going to be here as many as Sundays as there are in a year, and that way it makes it easier for you to know whether we're open or not, because it used to be in the old times, you'd have to get on and call 4 people who knew people, figure out if there was church, and that just kind of defeats the purpose. So we're going to be here. It is no sweat off the back of the staff to open these doors and make this room ready for you every Sunday of the year. My name is Jason. You guys know who I am, and welcome to the 4th and final Sunday of the season of Advent. Now, something you may not know, probably not that interesting, that may be why you don't know it. I've never actually preached a full Advent service before, Advent 4 service before. And the reason is as Britta was saying, we've always canceled the Sunday closest to Christmas Eve at ANC, and we always tried to find a place to be. For the longest time, we were the little couple looking for a place, and there was no room at the inn for the little church of ANC, and so she described it, and we would just move it around and do an Eve service and then let everybody be off and be with family on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Over the years, those became some epic services. I remember firehouses when it was 4 degrees. Does anybody remember this down in Manchac when they first built the firehouse at the end of Manchac Road? I remember strange little spaces that we would rent and borrow and steal. Other churches that actually didn't like us at all, but would weirdly still rent their space to us when it was about money. They liked us enough to cash the check, so I don't know what to make of all of that. But we've had some epic services over the years, and we could never find a space to be permanently until we got the keys to this little building back in, I don't even remember, I think it was 2018 was the first Christmas Eve service we did here. And it was so bad, and there were so many colors, and there were literally 4 colors of wood, 3 colors of carpet. There was a full bell choir stage. If you don't know what that is, don't Google it. Google doesn't know what that is. Only the church knows what that is. We rented speakers from Straight Music, and I remember we just blared this, and then after that service, then we took the keys, gutted the building, remodeled it, and created the space that we're in today. All that to say, it's taken a while for us to find a place to settle in, and by the time we did that, the Eve concept, that weird little thing we do, just kind of stuck, and so that's what we do. That's what we're going to do. Anyway, this is an odd year. You know how they move around, where Christmas Eve falls on the day right after Sunday, which means we're going to be here today and tomorrow, which means it's a little bit like when we were kids trying to get to heaven and you were in church every day. Twice on Sundays, y'all. Can you even imagine such a life as the life we lived? Our only chance to hang out with cool friends from church who weren't from school was to go home with them on Sundays and then be brought back. And do you remember how sleepy and weird and long those days would be with Mountain Dew and pizza and the Dukes of Hazzard on TV, and then we got to lick our colic and put it back over so we could go back to church and hear some guy preach again. And somehow after all that, I still wanted to be a preacher. I don't know how that all works, but here we are. And here we will be tomorrow. And you don't want to miss it. Just know this, that we're going to reorient the room in a way that's going to throw things off enough so that we, by candlelight and through singing carols, might be quickened again into the meaning of this season. That's the work, really, of Advent and of Christmas, is to polish a very familiar thing to find some new image in it, to find some new thing that pertains to our life. We did think about going big this year. We thought about going huge size, but all the mega churches in Houston seem to have rented all the camels and donkeys and cows for their Christmas pageants. So we've decided to deploy the heart-stopping cuteness of about a dozen of your adorable little crumb crunchers who will be dressed up as the characters in the nativity scene. And that's more fun anyway than watching a live donkey poop on stage while Mary sings her heart out, which I once saw at a mega church north of Houston in the Woodlands, and I'm not joking. We'll stick with kids who hopefully won't poop on stage tomorrow night. But if they do, we'll love them because they're our kids. Anyway, Advent also falls right in the middle of our campaign on congregational generosity this year, and it's been a very hard year financially for us and churches like ours. It's not just unique to us. And with the help of our leadership, not just the board and the staff, but also a committee of amazing people who believe in this work, we've actually accomplished a ton, and in the wrong time of year, closed a very important budget gap, and that's great. In fact, we're getting close to putting ourselves in this kind of position, I think, that we might see something amazing in 2025. What we're dealing with is the long-term legacy of trends of progressive American churches that have been the trends were exacerbated by COVID. People are asking themselves the question, how does the local church now fit into my life and budget? And that's actually an important question that I think we should be asking. Anyhow, we're trying to get healthier as we go into 2025 by reminding ourselves of our core values, the things that make us unique. So we're weaving those values into Advent messages as we go. So it's not just Advent, it's also these themes and these values. There aren't many of those. You'd see them on the website if you look under the About little tab. And they are simply safety, authenticity, curiosity, courage, and engagement. There aren't a lot. There were a lot more on the list of the churches that I grew up in. They went for page after page after page of single type, lots of scriptural references. Guys, for us, it's safety, authenticity, curiosity, courage, and engagement. When we're doing those things well, I think we're embodying the gospel well. So today, in addition to focusing on love, which is the theme of this Advent week 4, I'll also be trying to weave in the value of courage. The website reads this way, simply stated: when we're doing it right, ANC will have the courage to name and address systems of injustice. We started, guys, by thinking about the poor and how they fit into our faith. And then we realized, wow, the poor aren't the only people who are suffering from systemic injustice. Then we began to turn our thoughts to the LGBTQ community in Austin, and then we began to wonder about the immigrants. Guys, it's just systems of injustice that exist on false narratives. We want to be a church that has the courage to attack and address that and build a better world that ends up setting more people free, you might say. But I want you to notice in that statement, when we're doing it right, I want you to notice that word when. Nobody has to admit to you that we aren't always doing it right around here at ANC. We're growing and evolving like everything else that's alive. We make mistakes. We get our wires crossed from time to time. We lose clarity from time to time. We dig in around things that don't matter from time to time. But when we're doing it right, that is, We will have courage to name and address the systems, the institutions, and most importantly, the supporting narratives that create that systemic injustice. When we're doing things right, we will risk whatever we must to address that status quo that somehow always seems to forget whole swaths of humanity. So those are two interesting things that we're going to try to weave together today: courage and love from Advent 4. And maybe it's a good time, since we haven't done this in a few minutes. You ready? Perhaps I'll just ask you this question, and we'll turn the lights back up, and we'll open the floor, and we'll turn on a mic. And so raise your hand, and Catherine will find you. We'll do this in order. But here's the question: what do courage and love have to do with one another? What's the connection? There's no right answer. This is social science. There's no right answer. You can just feel your way through this, guys. What do love and courage have to do with one another?
I have a friend in the DR named Rod, and he talks a lot about sacrifice, and that used to kind of be the big thing for him, is sacrifice. And he realized over time it's actually love. And he says love is the root, sacrifice is the fruit. I kind of look at it the same way. If love is at the root, then it's not that courage becomes easy, but courage overflows out of that. If you love one another, you're going to have the courage to fight for one another.
Yeah, when you're at the White Horse on a Saturday night and some bloke steps up to your lady, and even though you never fought in 5th grade or 6th grade or 7th grade, you step up, don't you? Yeah, I like that. Someone else. Courage and love, what do they have to do with each other? Let's make her run. Oh, come on, guys. Let's do this across the building. Let's do this like we used to do for Trey. Let's get the calories in here.
It's very similar, but it's that if you love anything enough, it gives you the courage to do what it takes. So you'll die for someone. You'll do whatever if there's love.
Yeah. Someone else. Let's add some other shading to this.
I think they both involve choice and action.
Yeah. Love that.
I was just going to say, I think when I became a mother for the first time, I think I learned that more than anything else. I would throw my body in front of a moving car for my children. I mean, I think that courage just comes out of that love. I mean, I wouldn't do it without it.
Very true.
I think true love is really brave.
Yeah. Come on, you guys, it's all in one section. She's got her running boots on today.
And it's not always like the beautiful, pretty thing. Sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes it's really ugly. Look at what's going on in the news right now. Sometimes it's literally becoming a martyr to have the courage to stand up for people that are being harmed. So.
Someone else. Can I have a little bit of monitor of that mic so I can hear what they're saying? Yeah.
I'm going to turn it inwards and be a little selfish, but I think sometimes when you act courageously, it's because you have a love for yourself, or you recognize the kind of love you deserve. So you're willing to go out there and do the hard thing.
Oh, wow, my mind just filled in a bunch of different things I'm not going to say. Wondering about if that's what you're talking about. Yeah. Carry on. Deeper in the room. Deeper. Yeah.
Both love, both love and courage involve trust.
Which is so easily rebuilt, isn't it? Except it's not, yeah. Good. There's about 25 sermons here. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm picking sermons for 2025. Keep talking. We're taking notes. Yeah. What do love and courage have to, what's the connection between love and courage? What's the next, how are they connected? Yeah, way in the back. There you go.
Can y'all pass it down?
Okay, somehow somebody magically turned your mic off as they passed it through those 4 people, so the whole Intertron didn't hear you. Can you say it again?
Maybe.
On the very bottom.
Oh, on the very bottom. It's on.
There we go, now we have you.
Okay. I think love in its many forms calls us to be fully seen and vulnerable.
Yeah, except don't love that. Brene wrote 4 books about that, right? Yeah. Last comment up here. Yeah.
I think love and courage both allow you to move forward despite being unsure of the outcome.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait a second. So we're not sure how this is all going to shake out when we have to sign up for these things. Yeah, that's why we opened the mic. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, guys. As you know, Advent is driven, in the Protestant world anyway, which is the world that we sort of are attached to historically, by the themes of hope, peace, joy, and love. It's always the same 4 players every Advent. And we look at those ideas in the Christmas story through the characters, which is the Catholic way or the Episcopal way, which was my sort of preferred way. We look at that through the characters, and on every 3-year cycle, those characters change a little bit. They shift slightly from year to year. This year, those characters have been Mary on Advent 1, literally the stars on Advent 2. Number 3, last week was the shepherds. And then today, it's a man named Simeon, Britta, which would be a great name for a fish, if only, Britta, you had a fish. He was an elderly temple attendant, we're led to believe. He was a presence often seen in the temple at those days. And he had some very significant things to say about Jesus when he first met him in Luke chapter 2, as we read this morning. Simeon offers an amazing lens through which to observe some new elements about this story. Until now, you might notice, as best I can tell anyway, Mary had received mostly good news about the birth and the legacy of her firstborn son, Jesus. Remember, the angels told her at the Annunciation, this child will be great. He'll be referred to as the Son of the Most High, which was a nickname generally reserved for Caesar. The angel went on to say over the house of Jacob he would reign as an extension of the house of David, not for a long time, but forever. Most intriguing of all, during that announcement from the angel to Mary, the angel said that this child would be holy. That's all from Luke chapter 1. Oh yeah, the angel also said that Jesus would be conceived in a rather peculiar circumstance, since she and Joseph hadn't yet been married technically, anyway. That was complicated for the obvious reasons if you were a young woman. And then, of course, the angel would have to go on to speak then to Joseph. So in a dream to Joseph, as Joseph was thinking about what to do, this was indeed a divine plan that he should not divorce Mary, the angel tells Joseph. He shouldn't put her away secretly. And he tells him that this child would save his people from their sins. That comes from Matthew 1. Luke doesn't offer us any of that story of Joseph. Mostly good news, you see, they had received about this son. The shepherds would go on to tell their own story in time, as they heard it from the stars, that there was nothing to be afraid of, that the birth of this child was good news for all. It would be great joy, and it should accompany this event for all people, and the baby would bring glory to God and peace to humanity. That's from Luke 2 from last week, which of course they shared with her, Mary, and Joseph promptly, after the stars themselves sang their praise and sang that song, and they learned that song, and then they hurried to the place where they expected they might find this child, and they relayed this word to her. Eventually, Mary would receive good news even from Iranian priests or Zoroastrian priests, or you call them perhaps Persian priests. They would travel across the desert, and they wouldn't show up for a while, but they too would remind Mary simply that this baby of hers was to be the king of the Jews. All that to say, in the memory of Luke anyway, at least most of the news Mary had received about her baby was good news. It was amazing even. It was awe-inspiring. It was encouraging. It was positive. It was cosmically significant. It was politically momentous. Good and glorious things had been prophesied over this baby boy. But then along comes Simeon, an old man by the time our story includes him, a man who had lived well past the age where men seek to only be liked or respected or even helpful. Simeon had outlasted such adolescent impulses. Simeon had reached the age of honesty. It was time now to speak clearly without a filter. It was time to name the conundrum of the birth of Christ, not just the good news. It was time to speak the whole truth. Interestingly, Simeon is one of the very first human beings in the narratives of the Gospels to recognize this little boy as the Christ, which is actually more a title than a name. That wasn't Jesus' last name, in case you were curious. That Greek word, the Christon or the Christos, was a word that Luke chooses to put in the mouth of Simeon in this story, and it was a long-awaited embodiment of the hopes of Israel. That was a loaded, freighted, heavily freighted hope word. To call Jesus, Mary's son, the Christos or the Christon or the Christ was bold, and it was alarming. Friends, it was risky. But he was an old man after all. What did he care? Sometimes it takes a person who has nothing to lose to speak most clearly about a thing. which is exactly what Simeon does. After waiting his entire life, he gets to say the words he'd been rehearsing for years under his breath. It's now his chance to add his 2 cents to the storyline. Of course, he too had wonderful and astonishing things to say about Jesus like the others. For example, he mentions the word salvation, perhaps for the first time in this epic story. Now, before you make assumptions, 20th or 21st century assumptions about what you think that word means, salvation meant nothing about an afterlife to the Jews, no reference to heaven or to hell. That would have been foreign. Salvation to a Jew of that time would probably have been better encapsulated in the ideas of the words peace or justice now, in this age, in this world. But Simeon says that. He says the word salvation as he begins to address the situation. He sees that this tiny boy would usher in some kind of new state of shalom or salvation or peace. But then he messes up the whole announcement by including the wrong people. I wonder if you noticed that. In his little prophetic blessing over Jesus, Simeon goes on to speak of a sort of nexus between the Gentiles and the people of Israel, something ambitious and disturbing to the hearers of the statement that day in the temple. Mary and Joseph certainly seemed to be disturbed by this. Well, Mary, at least. Joseph is a rather flat character in the New Testament, and we know nothing of him from this part in the story, this part forward in the story. We don't know how he took the news. What we do know is that these words that Simeon said unsettled Mary's young and strong heart. But I identify strongly with Simeon. Someone had to level with this infant family. It was high time someone cut to the chase for Mary and Joseph. You see, you know this intuitively, friend. There are no straight lines in life. There are no quick journeys from brokenness to wholeness. There are no straight lines from occupation to liberation. No direct routes from poverty to glory. No easy paths from anonymity to impact. It will always be a wavy, broken line from the backwaters of empire to the right hand of God. Simeon spoke truth to this brand new family. It was going to be hard. Hearts would be broken and bodies would be crushed. So as I paraphrase this story with some fresh words of my own, let's see what you can hear on the second reading today. I'm just going to read exactly what we heard read at the lighting of the Advent candle. Luke 2, verse 22, when the day of ceremonial cleansing, and of course I'm keeping the words on the screen, it just seems important to me that you know that I'm not making this up. A lot of things are made up on church on Sundays at 10:30 in churches across the world. I just want you to understand what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the words that Luke chose and I'm putting them in some cases into deeper relief around what we know to be the early first century Greek language. Okay, so here you go. When the day of ceremonial cleansing was complete as stipulated in the law given to Moses, Jesus' family brought him to the temple to be presented to God, verse 22. Verse 23, this was done to comply with the legal expectation that every male child who first literally opens the womb of his mother should be summoned to a special ceremony in the temple. This was something worth acknowledging. Verse 24, and Mary and Joseph offered what poor folks were commanded to offer if they could not offer a lamb or a bull, which was a pair of turtle doves or a pair of pigeons. Even the poor should have access to something that brought pleasure to God, and these small birds represented innocence and peace. Verse 25, now there was an old man in Jerusalem named Simeon, meaning, of course, his name meant God was heard. Simeon was a man who lived rightly and circumspectly before God and all humanity. He spent his whole life waiting for the comfort that had been promised to Israel. The breath or the Spirit of God rested on him in unique and singular ways. Verse 26. And many years prior, it had been revealed to him by the life force of God, a sort of wind of knowing different from all other forms of knowing, that neither his spirit nor his physical body would die before seeing the long-expected fulfillment, the arrival of Israel's anointed one. Verse 27, then led by the Spirit that day, Simeon found his way to the place where worshipers gather in the outer courts of the temple. He happened to be paying attention right as Mary and Joseph presented Jesus to the Lord, fulfilling the expectations written about by Moses. Verse 27 and verse 28, and catch this. Then Simeon bent over to receive the child as one might bend over to pick up a burden, and he began to chant a blessing. And he sings, verse 29, Master of all, you are now peacefully releasing me, your faithful servant, from a life of waiting. I believe this based on what I can clearly hear deep in my spirit. These old eyes, verse 30, have finally seen for themselves the deliverance they've waited a lifetime to behold. The deliverance has grown up and been made ready in plain sight, in full view of all people, verse 32. And that deliverance is a burst of awareness, exploding photons of revelation given to every Gentile alive for the glory and the splendor of your chosen people, Israel. And Mary and Joseph were shocked and astonished at the words of Simeon. How could this be true about their son Jesus? What did the entire non-Jewish or Gentile world have to do with him anyway? Verse 34, then Simeon goes on to further eulogize the whole family, after which he pulled Mary aside and he said to her in private, now hear these words, I want to caution you, this little one has been set aside. He has been destined specifically to bring about a downfall, followed by a rising or rebirth, in that order, of a great multitude of people in Israel. He will be an enigma, he whispers to Mary, a misunderstood and well-contradicted sign. His own people won't be excited to know what he means to the Gentile world, Mary. Nonetheless, his birth is a sign, verse 35, one that will reveal the secrets, thoughts of many. And this same apocalyptic epiphany will slice through you, sweet Mary, like a sword of grief, revealing inside worlds, making them known to all. Verse 36 and 37, the end of the story. And there in the temple also that day was a prophetess named Anna. Phanuel the Asherite was her father. Anna was advanced in years like Simeon, and she had spent all but 7 years of her adult life in the temple, fasting and praying around the clock. And right as Mary and Joseph presented the baby Jesus to the Lord, she lifted her voice and began to prophesy about who he might become to all who were anxiously awaiting a Redeemer in Jerusalem that day. Just to go back for emphasis, verse 35, in Simeon's whisper to Mary, one that will reveal the secret thoughts of many, and this same apocalyptic epiphany will slice through you, sweet Mary, like a sword of grief, revealing inside worlds, making them known to all. Now, I imagine Mary and Joseph were startled. Wouldn't you be? They were just doing their basic duty as observant Jewish parents. I'm guessing they were in no mood to even be noticed. Places of worship can be tricky places to navigate when all you want is a little anonymity. It seems church was a place tailor-made to show off in. We all know this. And these guys could hardly boast of their wealth or position. They didn't need anyone else noticing their meager offering of 2 small birds instead of something more regal. I doubt all the attention from Simeon was welcomed at all by this young couple. But they were brave enough to show up on time and offer something to honor the gift of this male child who had opened Mary's womb. For that we can give them credit. But now, this moment hardly seemed like the time to offer them bad news. Friends, but old men who have spent a lifetime waiting sometimes speak their minds whether you're ready or not. Get ready, Christmas is coming this week. It's going to happen to you too. What young family prepares for the chest-piercing sort of grief at the beginning of the life of their firstborn son? Who does that? Was this not the same little lad that the stars had only just sung about? Was this not the same baby boy who would bring heavenly peace to earth? Friends, you tell me, as we've considered this story again this year, does this seem like the same sweet little nativity story you grew up with in church? Is this still a benign account of some soft and tender people with cotton-balled beards and round little rosy faces against the flannel graph backdrop of sterilized history? And my mind could not help but show you this. Pop that picture on if you would. This is what we knew of the nativity story when I was young. Can you see that? That's not what this is it? This was hard. This would be hard. Friends, this would be bone-crushing. Mary gave birth to a revolution after all. This was significant social disruption coming fast and furious. This was the beginning of something new indeed, something good, something divine, but this would not come easy, and someone was finally naming it for Mary. Now, I'm using all my acquired skills from grad school to read between the lines of this simple story that most of us think we already know. I'm searching for something that we can hang on to, that's why, something we can relate to, some way of connecting it to our lives. And why would I do that? Why would I work to reassemble the context between the scenes? Because, friends, that's where the good news is. Also because I actually know something about you, because I know something about me. Your life has never moved easily or smoothly between promise and fulfillment either, has it? And the good stuff doesn't come easy for you, and it's not because you're doing something wrong, friends. It's because the good stuff never comes that way. You are not that different from everyone else, and I get to try on the voice of Simeon this morning as your pastor to remind you today that you must not associate hard with doing things wrong. This is the only way good things come to life, the slow, hard, painful, painstaking way. Ask Aaron Franklin if you don't believe me. He's the barbecue guy. Come on, guys. We live in Austin, Texas. Anyway, Simeon had waited a lifetime to wed these two ideas together with words. And what were those ideas? Grief and blessing, waiting and love, deliverance and a sword, and it burdened young Mary immensely. I wonder if this is why Luke chooses the expression he does in verse 28, which literally means picking up a weight or a burden to describe how Simeon scooped up this child from the arms of young Mother Mary. Oh, if only people were this honest with one another about how life actually works. Oh, if only we raised our kids with this kind of honesty. If only someone would have warned us when new life arrived that it would one day nearly destroy us to let it go. If only someone would have said when you gather around the altar and you say, I do, you're actually saying, I'll do my best. I'll have to learn how to as we go. If only someone would have said, blessing and abundance and freedom and peace would be yours, but only after a downfall or a falling apart or a total collapse of sorts. Oh, if only I had a Simeon in my earlier life to warn me of the things to come. Maybe I would have released the things I could never have held in the first place with much less resistance and fear, and perhaps I could have embraced the very process by which life prepares me for truly living by expecting my epic rise to come just after my falling apart. Well, I'll read that again, or you can just go back and hear the podcast. Let me just read that again. If only I had a Simeon, and I mean this, friends. There wasn't one person that spoke the truth about faith to me when I was young. It was all roses in heaven. It was supposed to be cool. Don't have sex before marriage. It's the great way to go. And then I met a friend who slept with his girlfriend. He said, that was great. And I was confused. I'm like, I thought that hurt. I thought you're supposed to have a disease. I thought you're supposed to be really sad. And he says, I'm not sad at all. I feel great. And I'm like, I'm confused. Where's my Bible? I'm calling in sick today. I got to figure this out. Nobody, friends, nobody told me the truth. Growing up around this broken journey that life would be. If only I had a Simeon in my earlier life to warn me of the things to come, maybe I could have released those things I could never have held in the first place with much less resistance and fear, and perhaps I could have embraced the very process by which life prepares me for truly living by expecting my epic rise to come just after my falling apart. Friends, we're just like every other living creature that has ever lived. Life will take us through almost unbearable experiences, almost unsurvivable encounters, almost fatal intersections to the other side where things finally begin to make sense. This is what life is, and this is how love actually works. So if you're slowly but surely, after years of waiting and wrestling and wandering, if you are slowly but surely at long last finally learning to trust this process, that means you're doing something right. Under, over, around, friends, none of those work. Through is the only option. Simeon names the actual process the way it actually works. Friends, falling comes first. Rising follows. Rising always follows, but falling always comes first. In conclusion, friends, what I've been trying to do this whole Advent season is to set you free from the idea, from the illusion that anyone's story is easy, that anyone's story is full of simple blessings, that anyone's real life story happens right on cue at the best possible time. That's what we call balderdash, which is a very English word. So in Texas, we invented our own. We call that horse feathers. We also call it something else. Friends, it's not real. Simple storylines only exist in the mind, nowhere else, and that matters because the moment you forget that, you might actually begin to think that the Instagram version of the lives of other people you admire are the real thing, friends, but they're not. They never are. You are not alone if you are struggling. You are not alone if things don't make sense. You are not alone if you think you may have messed it up for good this time. There is no spectacular rising that isn't preceded by an equally spectacular falling apart. Simeon is our guide today because Simeon is right. It's the way things actually work. So set yourself free today, friends, from the erroneous illusion that stories are clean and simple and made of only straight lines. They're not. That's just a story your mind generates. But that doesn't make it true. It isn't. It never has been, friends. Blessing and longing go together. Salvation and struggle are the real lovers. Heartache and deliverance are twins. Go back again and reread now the life and teachings of Jesus again, and you'll see what I mean. This final thought, the musicians knew not to flinch at the conclusion. I feel a deeply kindred spirit with Simeon today, and it's not just because we're both old men, which we are, but it's actually more than that. Friends, like Simeon, I have waited a lifetime for an answer. Hear me if you can. Try not to be distracted by these way above average musicians. I've waited a lifetime for an answer. As a child, friends, true love and unconditional belonging were things I thought might exist somewhere out there. True love and the unconditional belonging, sense of unconditional belonging, were things that I dreamt about. It's as if life itself made a promise to me that they were real and my tiny, tiny body knew it. I never lost hope that I would one day feel them for myself. Even though I had to wait 51 years for the answer, it finally came. Friend, Simeon is my patron saint today because he waited unwaveringly for the answer he knew would come eventually. But Simeon also inspires me in another way today, and this one makes me want to rise up with courage. As a spiritual leader, I get to channel his prophetic voice this morning and remind you, each of you, that the lines may not be straight. The flights may not be direct, the answers may not be immediate, but your answers are on their way. You have not been forgotten. You have not been overlooked. Everything is still on track. So hang in there, friend. Wait as willingly and as openly as you are able, and remember, nothing is wasted, nothing is lost. The longer you wait, the more open the heart will be when the answer finally arrives. Merry Christmas.
You could have come like a mighty storm, with all the strength of a hurricane. You could have come like a forest fire. soft and slow. You came falling from the sky in the night to the earth below. You came falling from the sky in the night to the earth below.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Takes a lot of guts to end a song on a major seventh note chord like that. Anybody else pick that up? Kind of leaves you hanging like you're waiting on the bus that never came. Thank you, guys. Jump to your feet if you're able. I know we're running late. That's exclusive. That's purely my fault today. Looking forward to seeing you here tomorrow. We were going to try a different modality through which to encourage ourselves to hear the story of Emmanuel, God with us. And so you don't want to miss out on that. But friends, just this final thought. You know, heaven and earth are not two separate places. I don't know what you've been taught. Love and waiting are not two exclusive head spaces or heart spaces. Suffering and freedom are not opposites. Friends, if we know anything to be true, it's that these things belong together if we can embrace them as the right answers that prepare us for the new thing that God is always doing. It's always true. So let me just prepare us now in prayer for the communion. You know how this works. The elements are at the base of the stained glass. Gluten-free options are the second window from the front. Almighty God, to whom all hearts are open and all desires are known, where in the world or in any other world we might create with our imaginations could we hide from your love? Remind us now of our cleansing, which is a complete work by your Spirit, that we may perfectly love you as you perfectly love us, through Christ our Lord, and Christ our example and friend, our teacher, the one who whispers to our soul, there will be a sword with the joy. That very same Jesus invites each of you today to a place at a common table that was only ever set for you. And as you wholeheartedly seek to live and walk in love and peace and justice and the good and the hard work of advocacy with yourself, with one another, let us in so doing turn our hearts completely to God now as a community. Say these words with me. Merciful God, we believe that you accept our heartfelt confessions today. Knowing you to be gentle and kind, even when we are not, we confess. We've been distracted, at times lacking in love. We have failed to love our neighbor as ourselves because we have failed to love ourselves as you do. Forgive us, we pray, and free us to be a people of peace through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. And on a Thursday night among good friends with whom he'd spent years walking and teaching and speaking and connecting the dots, he lifted bread and he said, this is the symbol right here. As ubiquitous as it is, this is what divine life will have to go through. There will be a rising, but there will first be a breaking. And he lifted the cup to seal the deal. And they couldn't have understood it any better than we do now, but we do it because we've been encouraged to do it every time we gather. Friends, in the walk-away, simple way of understanding that Eucharistic truth is simply this. As near as the food is that drives the cells in your body, that's how close God has always been to you. So let's gather at the table now. Say these words with me as we do. Our Father and Mother who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
lose you if I try. I'm confident I'm yours and you are mine. I'm a child of God, chosen by your blood. You have a heart I know that I can trust. I trust in you. I will never lose you. You will never lose me. I will never lose you. You're my place where I belong. I will never lose you. You will never lose me. I will never lose you. You're my place where I belong. The place where I So I'm letting go, and I'm never looking back. My orphan heart has found its home at last, with arms wide open. See, with arms wide open, you welcome all of me. You welcome me. I will never lose you. You will never lose me. I will never lose you. You're my own. Oh, I will never lose you. You will never lose me. I will never lose you. You're my own place where I belong.
Thanks, y'all. You can stay standing or stand if you're able. But before I read the benediction over you, just a reminder, if some of you can stay after the service for like 15 minutes for us to rearrange the room for the Christmas Eve service, we would really appreciate it. We need especially 4 strong backs to help us move something kind of heavy. So we appreciate it. Thank you. Our benediction today was written by Julie Waltrip, and she writes, "Waiting, waiting, allowing the unfolding of now. Eyes softly close, and finally I can see light, shadow, radiance. Around me the scent of time rises, a supple, lush fullness. I can feel the mysterious beating of my own heart. My skin diffuse and unbelievably soft, the penetration of sound, everything seeping into everything else. Air holding my entirety and the entirety being held. Everything lingers, attuning to the unspoken magic of this moment. Thinking gives way to feeling, seeking gives way to listening, logic gives way to love. Because I can clearly hear deep in my spirit a call to surrender, to flow into yes, allowing the ugly to be gorgeous, the raw to be awe-inspiring, and this to be enough. May our radiant hearts be opened by what is. We'll see you tomorrow for the Christmas Eve service. Go in peace.